I'm Douglas MacLeod. Oh, thank you, Emma. I appreciate that. I always forget. So I'm Douglas MacLeod from the Center for Architecture at Athabasca University, and this is a global perspectives on online architectural education. And I'm very pleased to hand it over to Dr. Henry Sang, who is the chair of the Center for Architecture, to make a couple of opening remarks, and then we'll be going straight. We'll be doing a land acknowledgement and then getting straight into the presentations. Henry, if you wanted to take over, that would be great.
Great. Well, thanks, Douglas. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you're calling from. Welcome to the Global Studio Lecture Series at the REAC Center for Architecture at Athabasca University. I'm going to ask if you could please turn off your mics if you're not speaking. My name is Dr. Henry Tsang. I am the chair of the Center for Architecture at AU. And it is a pleasure to welcome everyone, including faculty, students, educators, practitioners, and guests who are joining us from across Canada and frankly, from all around the world. I'm actually calling from Tokyo, Japan today, and I know we have guests from
Hmm.
Australia. This lecture series provides a forum for architecture schools to share their experiences in delivering accredited architecture programs online. As architectural education continues to evolve online and hybrid models are creating new opportunities for accessibility, flexibility, collaboration, and international engagement. A key feature of this series is that we will hear from both faculty members and students, and we believe that understanding these different perspectives is essential as we explore the opportunities, challenges, and future of online architectural education. We are especially pleased to begin the series today's session with a presentation from Curtin University, and I will let Douglas MacLeod formally introduce our speakers today.
Okay.
Uh, so thank you to all the presenters for sharing your time and expertise and experiences with us. So over to you, Douglas.
Thank you, Henry. Appreciate it. And one of the things that's important in Canada is to do a land acknowledgement. And we at Athabasca have staff and students actually in 84 different countries. So many of us live and work on the traditional lands of Indigenous people. I myself live on the unceded territory of the Selix Nation, and we honor the ancestry, the heritage, and the gifts of all of these peoples and nations. And I would encourage you to share your own land acknowledgement in the chat if you feel so inclined. But there's also, just to share with you, a couple of years ago, there were 94 recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And one of them is really important. It's call to action number 7, which calls upon the federal government to develop with Aboriginal groups a joint strategy to eliminate educational and employment gaps between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal Canadians. So this is really important, and it's one of the recommendations where all of us could act as allies and supporters. And part of that is about delivering alternative forms of education. And this is one of the things that people around the world have been doing. And I was actually first contacted by Stephen Feast a few years ago. I didn't even know about Curtin University. But since then, we've talked about and we've worked on various projects together. And I was very delighted to meet and become associated with Dr. Francesco Mancini, who is a registered architect, a landscape architect, and a planner registered in Italy. And he's the dean of international at the Faculty of Humanities and an award-winning teaching academic at the School of Design and the Built Environment. So he's a member of the Architects Accreditation Council of Australia review panel and the Accreditation Management Committee. And he's also a member of the Board of Architects of Western Australia and represents the Architects Board at the Australian Institute of Architects Educational Committee. Now, I'll pause there to say that unfortunately tonight, Lawrence Technological University couldn't be represented. It's for the best of reasons. Our student Nicholas Lamoureux, who graduated from our program and then graduated from Lawrence Technological and is now actually a registered architect in Canada. And he was called to a building site early this morning and he's still there. So he won't be able to present, but we will reschedule that. But we're also delighted to have student points of view. And Belal Reda from the Curtin University is also going to speak. So just very quickly, so you know, Francesco is going to speak for about 20 minutes. Bella is going to speak for 10 minutes. Then we'll have at least 20 minutes of questions and discussion. And we hope to wrap up at 8 o'clock Mountain Time. And I'm going to leave it to everybody to figure out what time that is for you. But without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Francesco. But thank you, everybody, for attending. And again, we're looking forward to an excellent session tonight. Over to you,
Um,
Francesco.
Thank you very much, Douglas. I'm very pleased to be here. Hello, everyone. I would like also to start by acknowledging that I am delivering this presentation from Wajak Noongar land, a land uh, where the custodians of the land actually share 14 different dialects among the Noongar nation. And you're right, Douglas, there is much work that is also happening in Australia to bridge the gap between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal Australians. And I will touch upon a little bit, perhaps also during my presentation today, that is about the Curtin Online Architecture Program, which is delivered by Curtin University, which is a global university. We're very committed to global education. We have multiple campuses. We believe in the experience of our students across the world, but we also believe that it's absolutely important to reach out and to enhance the accessibility to our education through online programs. So we are among the founders of the Open University of Australia, through which the Curtin's online architecture course is delivered. And today I will just touch upon a few points, the history of the course very briefly, the course structure, the student cohorts who actually benefits from this program, and probably Belal will definitely add his point of view on his experience at Curtin, how we deliver the course, and how we integrated our work with the campus course. Even though the Curtin Online Architecture is fully delivered online, it's the only fully delivered online program of architecture in Australia, and one of the first ones in the world. We now hear that this is growing, of course, but we're very proud of these achievements, because we have always been big believers in online education, also for creative disciplines. And a few results and few lessons that we've taken from the past that have also influenced the way we teach on campus. So the history of the program in one page. In 1993, OUA, the Open University of Australia, started as a correspondence learning program. And this is important to say, because in Australia, it's very important for remote students to have access to higher education. As you know, we have only a few cities where the majority of the population lives, but not everybody. And so it was very important to outreach, and this goes back to tradition since the beginning of the century, actually, of the last century. And so there was a platform for us to build when the online became an option to build programs. And online programs started through OUA around 2005, 2006, 2008 for Curtin in the School of Design and the Built Environment. And the first programs that we delivered were in fine arts, believe it or not, so brushes and paints, and urban and regional planning, which were a good success. And they encouraged us to actually start the architecture program in 2013. We started with a 5-year program. In 2013, there was a reform where already, I think that the 5-year bachelor was disestablished nationally in 2008. So we adopted the Bologna Agreement, and we delivered 3 years of bachelor plus 2 years masters, which is the current format in which we deliver architecture in Australia. In 2017, the numbers were about 170 in terms of FTSL, which is equivalent full-time students. So those who take an equivalent full course per semester, and 10 only in the master. And the course was accredited in 2018 for the first time, and actually offered a great opportunity to shift to an online platform in 2020 during COVID-19. And I think that since then, we have learned a lot also back to our face-to-face format that is flanking the online program. Yes, if you have, yeah. Sorry. Okay. In 2020, the FTSL went to 120 in the bachelor and 27 in the master. But we have to say that in 2017, the program was also open to anybody who wanted to take units non for degree. So that's why we have a larger number. The reality is that the number of students has been growing over time with a great uptake more recently in the master program, especially since we opened it for Commonwealth fee support, which is supporting the domestic students with a substantial loan that allows them to access the course. And here you can see the comparison between the bachelor and the master in the online program. And you can see that the master is really the one that is growing, while the data about the bachelor are somehow steady over the past 5 years, especially post-COVID since 2022. The course structure is the content of the unit is exactly the same as the campus course. The unit learning outcomes are exactly the same. And the unit coordinators.
Professor Mancini?
Yes.
Excuse me, sorry. We're not seeing your presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can see it.
I can also see it.
There is
Okay.
no issue. I can see it too.
I can see it as well.
Okay.
I see as well.
And then it must be me, so I apologize for.
No, it's all right. Thanks for
Okay.
letting us. Yeah, I'm happy to proceed if that's okay. Yep.
I think it's okay.
Thanks. So we call courses units, and the course is actually what in North America is often called program. So just be mindful of that. So the unit for us is a single course. So each course learning outcome is the same as for the campus program or course. And the unit coordinators or the course lead for each course are generally the same as the campus course. We have approximately 50% of online units that are coordinated by casual academics, session staff, and many of them are actually from industry who are willing to give their time, and this gives them a lot of flexibility to actually participate in our programs without having to leave the city in which they are or the office for that matter. So that is offering actually a great opportunity to increase industry engagement. The study periods, we have 4 study periods across over the year, which enable students to take 2 units per study period that lasts for 13 weeks. Technically, there are no breaks, but we know the students can enroll in 1 or 2 units at a time. And so over the year, they take the 4 units of each semester with a different pace as it is more comfortable for them. We try to offer the units multiple times so students have choice where they can enroll during the course. And still, we have an open enrollment in the first year units. We have an undergraduate certificate, which is a 1 semester program, 4 units for everybody who wants to try architecture, and which proved to be very successful. That was introduced with COVID and stayed after that because actually it was quite successful amongst our architecture students. So here you can see the course. I will not spend too much time. It's just to show that it's pretty much similar to many other courses in the main structure, design, methods, which is what we call communications now, culture and theory, and then technology and systems in the bachelor, with the opportunity to take a specialization in urban and regional planning, even online, or interior architecture, which is also offered online. The master is a 2-year program. So here you can see the split in semesters. Level 1, 2, and 3 means year 1, year 2, year 3. And in the masters, we have actually studios that are more substantial. They cover 50 credits. You can see the large image on your screen. Generally, every semester you take 100 credits total of units. But as we said, the program is divided in 4 study periods. So you take 50 credits per study period. That is either 1 studio in the masters or 2 units of 25 credit each. for a total of 200 credits in the master's and 600 credits, 400 credits in the master's and 600 credits in the bachelor. And in the master program, we have also units that help students specializing in professional practice management, in the project delivery, and also an opportunity to take a practical experience unit. In terms of the age of our students, so you can see the difference between the two cohorts, between Bentley, which is the face-to-face program in red on this diagram, and the cohort of students in the online course. The age interval is quite different. The majority of our students online are returning students or students who have family or work commitments. And so they find this much more flexible and much more approachable rather than moving to Perth, where we're based with our Curtin campus, to study face-to-face. It is really an opportunity to help them not to feel also isolated in their studies. And they have a great flexibility also in terms of when they can connect. Our programs include always a synchronous component and not only asynchronous. And I will talk about that later, but that's great. Effectively, one of the biggest point of strength of the online offering compared to other types of programs that we see around the world. So it's not just remote learning, but it's also in contact with our academics at all times. This is just a snapshot to see where our students connect from. And you see this is the top 6 countries. And you can see that beyond Australia, it's basically from all over the world. These might pose some challenges sometimes in terms of establishing at what time to have our collaborative sessions online, but it's also our pride to see that our students can connect and be part of the Curtin community from every place in the world. Not many fancy images about our learning systems, but I'm happy to talk about those maybe during the discussion. It's a very articulated delivery in terms of methods. We have a learning management system. At the moment, we use Blackboard. We are transitioning to Canvas, a different one. But essentially, the management system offers the opportunity to utilize online modules. We have reading lists that are accessible online, completely digital. Our library has done a fantastic job, the university library, in acquiring more and more digital collections. So the gap is basically filled. And we have also other opportunities to provide recorded lectures and recorded videos from different collections as well to our students. The lectures, so the recorded lectures are often the same lectures that are pre-recorded also for the face-to-face course. So effectively, the students get the same content as the on-campus students. Discussion boards and different submission points help the students to submit the work entirely digitally. When there is a component that is about model making, videos and photos actually help the students to demonstrate their learning. We also utilize social media.
And I better get back to it.
Sorry, I don't know what's happened here.
Yeah, it's
Daryl,
offline.
we seem to be seeing Daryl. If you're not speaking, could you mute your microphone, please? And Francesco, we've lost your slides,
Oh,
I think. But you're back. But maybe
okay.
is it everybody? Actually, I should check. Is anybody seeing Francesco's slides? I'm not at the moment.
I
Okay.
disconnected quickly.
Okay, so I need to share again. Yes,
I
I'll
think
do it
so.
now.
Yeah.
My apologies for that.
Oh, no worries.
I
No worries.
think this should be the one. See, you should see my screen again, and I will go to
Yep.
presentation mode again.
Yep.
Let me see if you have seen these slides when I was
Yep.
talking
Yep.
about delivery methods. Okay, so I
Yep.
can start from the next one.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for flagging that, Douglas. So in terms of integration with campus cores, as I said, the material is the same. Actually, after COVID, we learned that preparing the material for the online course can be of great guidance to build on constructive alignment between learning outcomes in delivery material and assessment briefs. And so we learn from the OUA course how to streamline our subjects also in the campus course. As I said, the pre-recorded lectures are used in both delivery modes. We are now switching to micro lectures gradually, which is helping all students to learn at a different pace, not just by chunks of 45 or 30 minutes every time. And definitely we have the opportunity to collaborate between the online and on-campus studios. This is not something that we do in a systematic way, mainly due to a misalignment of our calendars. So only certain study periods actually correspond, and that is facilitating their collaboration. But whenever it's possible, we consider that, especially at the undergraduate level, because we believe that that strengthens the sense of belonging of our students in the program. I think that that's it for the basic integration, but I'm happy to talk more about this. Now, we have a larger number of non-completions, especially at the bachelor's, because of the opening to non-4-degree units, or the possibility for students to test the year one and just get the graduate certificate. But we are happy with that result, because we see that the completion overall of the course, well, takes longer, and this is expected given the cohort profile, but somehow it's still satisfying to.
I'm sorry, we've lost you. We've lost the slides again, Francesco. I do apologize for this.
I'm so sorry that this is happening. I don't know. Probably it's my connection. Let's see. I'll get back to yeah.
Okay. Well, let's try once again.
Yeah. I don't know why it stopped sharing, but I'm sorry about that. Clearly, there is more multimedia engagement and less craft. And all of our students, both the online and the face-to-face students, have access to a suite of softwares that enable them to deliver the assessments in a very similar way or in an equivalent way. And I think that this has been sanctioned by the accreditation that we got in 2018 and has been recently renewed in 2025. This is my last slide to wrap up. The lessons that we took from the program is that we actually are very proud of our students in the first place, because they demonstrate an incredible purpose, and they have a very they pay a lot of attention to the way we can help them to manage their time. So these help us actually to become even more efficient and really focus on what we do. This also brings the aspect that many students actually are really focusing on the essential in many cases. But as I said, is really it's not lack of commitment. On the opposite, is really the attention to make the best of their time. And in that sense, I think that we are designing our units more and more as a student-centered experience. And the feedback that we get from the students actually help us to articulate the delivery material in offering opportunities for the students to engage through different forms, from accessible text online to videos and other forms through social media platforms that engage, help students engaging with us also in an asynchronous way. I think that still the human component is critical. So that's why we maintain the synchronous contact for studio and also for non-studio units. There is an opportunity to meet weekly with all the students and the tutor, because that maintains a sense of connection and helps keeping pace during the unit. But on the other way, on the other side, even in Design Studio, students can learn asynchronously, and we can check, like we would do in a normal office, the work maybe 12 hours later if they submit or they present a work in process from New Zealand or maybe from United States. But this is not impacting. We have not noticed any particular difference in the marking or in the student experience or in the student's drop. That depends on the time zone difference or the asynchronous learning. As I said before, we have embraced the learning lessons that came from COVID-19. It was for us a fantastic opportunity to test the adaptability of our campus students when we switch online, utilizing the OUA platform. And the fact that we had a course that was designed to be exactly the same actually helped a seamless transition, and probably has helped us to establish a cultural hybrid learning also on campus. The weekly tuition pattern are definitely more flexible than what we have here on campus. So it is true that the studio culture is absolutely important, but somehow an online community works in a different way, but that flexibility enables a lot of participation, but in a very different way, I would say. And of course, you have to get used to that. And there are certain things that probably cannot be discussed the same way as if you were in a studio in front of a physical model, just to give an example. But we are all satisfied about, from the results that we see. And effectively, the quality of the work every time we compare, we didn't have the chance to show, but probably would it be nice to show work of students from the campus course and a work of student from the online course, and really there is no difference. Great students are great students everywhere. Students on the learning curve, they make great progress anyway. Definitely one thing that is less flexible is the teaching structure. We need to come prepared. Students need to know in advance what is waiting for them in week 8, in week 9. It gives them a lot of confidence and reassure them that they are followed since the beginning to the end. Because the flexibility is in their hands. Things happen during the semester, so they have to adapt. So if they know what is going to happen in the future, how the unit has been carefully designed, that is helping them to actually cope with any unforeseen circumstance. And on this note, I think I can stop my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Francesco, for that presentation. I'm sorry if we had a couple of glitches, but the presentation came through very clearly, and it's much appreciated. We'll have some opportunities to ask questions, but next I wanted to turn to Belal to talk about the student experience at Curtin. So thank you, Francesco, and Belal, it's over to you.
Thank you, Douglas. Thank you, Dr. Francesco. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm speaking today. Good morning from Sydney. I believe it's nighttime, evening in Athabasca, and good afternoon or good morning to everyone around the world watching. My name is Belal Reda. You can call me Billy. I'm a 50-year student of Masters of Architecture. First question, I think you asked me what drew me to the study architecture online. So firstly, I'll give you a little context about my journey, what brought me here, and what really pushed me to do architecture. So basically, as a teenager, I've always enjoyed making and constructing sort of things. I've always, liked to do furniture in mum and dad's backyard before eventually becoming a carpenter. So most of the time was spent outdoors or on a construction site, but I always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to eventually become an architect someday. But the idea of going back to study, sitting in a classroom, balancing work, study, life felt like a big challenge for me. So I felt that I had to overcome this fear factor, but when and how was still unresolved for me. And finding the right opportunity and pathway into architecture was the biggest obstacle. So this stayed with me from 1999 to 2019. I did do other things in between other than carpentry. I did, building construction. and a few other construction projects. So around what made it for me was COVID. So during when COVID happened, I took that as an opportunity. So during the lockdown, I said this is the opportunity for me to study. So I enrolled into a building drafting course at the time. So it was kind of self-paced. I wanted to make sure of it, and just to kind of feel how online studying is. It didn't need much commitment, so it was like self-paced. So on completion, I said, like, we're still in COVID lockdown and online studies wasn't too difficult. So I started to look for an online university degree to fulfill my dreams. So I enrolled in the online certificate of architecture, which was the perfect fit. It was flexible at times, also demanding in the other aspect, like Dr. Francini was explaining. But I always, found ways of managing my time and pushing myself a lot harder. Obviously, I want to fulfill my dreams, and for sure, it didn't require any residency or campus attendance. Like I said, the certificate of architecture caught me by surprise. It was quite intense. Now looking back on this, it wasn't that difficult after all, and luckily I did push myself to take the course. The other question was preparing did it prepare myself for a license to become a licensed architect. So I must admit that doing the undergraduate and master's program have done more than help me work towards becoming a licensed architect. They have already strengthened the way I approach my own practice, particularly when dealing with clients, consultants, and counsel. Working on a construction site is a very different environment. It's then talking to consultants and it's kind of really fast paced, and it involves working with a wide range of trades and personalities. It's different than when you're working in a professional surrounding. So it's kind of different mindset. You wouldn't pick up a phone and talk to a tradie the same way you talk to a professional consultant. That aspect has helped me, and these are the important things I believe in becoming an architect, especially in a coordination and everything, even the culture. So through studying architecture, I've developed a broader perspective, stronger communication skills, and more considered approach to problem solving, which has positively influenced both my professional practice and everyday interactions with people, as explained. I developed a strong sense of community through the discussion board, EPNARC, but even more so after being elected as a New South Wales signer representative in 2024 and national representative in 2025. The representative role gave me the opportunity to connect with students beyond my own cohort and build relationships with people from universities across Australia and even across the world. This opportunity wouldn't have been if I wasn't an online student. And with regards to resources, online study through Curtin provided strong learning materials. Materials were allocated for each subject and easy to find through Blackboard, which is a platform we find that we do have all our collaboration and materials. This helped me successfully navigate the course requirements. So having access to the library resources also made a significant difference, as I was able to find much of the information and research material needed to support my studies. On top of this, the resources and support provided through SANA were also extremely valuable. It helped me connect with the broader architecture community and gain additional knowledge beyond the course content. So I encourage any online student that is studying architecture or even interior design to become a member. And the most favorite thing for me was these magazines. If you can see it, they were given each month. There are a lot of case studies and a lot of things to benefit from. Finally, probably enhancements. Look, it is what it is, but they've also there isn't in the aspect of the way it's set out on Blackboard. There isn't a lot more to do, but I feel sometimes the fact that we're not in class and then we're speaking through like online and presenting design material and that kind of stuff, it becomes a little bit difficult. I feel maybe, for instance, maybe there should be some sort of workshops, probably around each state. Maybe we can attend to once a month or something like that. Probably connect with like-minded people like us. But in the same time, SONA, the student organization network for architecture, also fills the gap. So, which is worked well for me so far, and I'm nearly finished. So I'm quite happy with the result, and it's been a life changer for me. That's me. Thank you.
Well, wonderful. Thank you very much, Belal. Could you you held up something you called a magazine? Is it? And you talked about case studies. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? So
Yeah,
it's not quite focusing on what the cover is. Is that something from the university, or is it?
That's material from the Architectural Institute of Australia. So if you become a SONA member, like we pay about $40 or $42 each month, we get magazines. We also get a portal to go onto, and there's a lot of information about professional architects showcasing work of what they do, and case studies and successful projects around Australia, which is really good. And in the same time, we also have a lot of information on Blackboard, our platform, and a lot of information, case studies, and a lot of resources. There's actually heaps to read, so there's never short of that. But if you want to extend beyond universities and go into the Architectural Institute of Australia organisations, like there's a student platform and there's also a professional platform. Yeah, it's even more things to benefit from than university. And like I said, if I wasn't an online student and I didn't take this up, I wouldn't have become a representative, which has also been a great experience for me. And yeah, so hopefully one day my dream will come true to become an architect eventually. But either I'm doing well so far, so it's been great.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we, of course, want to encourage you and support you in that dream of becoming an architect. I am going to open it up for questions. I'm monitoring the chat, and I'm also looking for raised hands. But at the moment, there is two questions in the chat. One is for Francesco, and it's from Nushin. Are the modules prepared ahead of time for the instructors in the online program?
Yes, absolutely. As I was mentioning in my presentation, thanks for the question. Number one, very, very relevant. It is critical that students have access to the learning material at least 1 week before the start of the term, so they can familiarize, number one, with the way we have organized the learning platform and where the material is, especially in the early years or in the first semester. There is also a guide on how to use the in this case Blackboard and access the online meeting connection, access.
Oh, we do seem to keep losing Francesco.
Directly. Sorry, I keep dropping out. Yeah, I realized that. Sorry about that. I will just wrap up quickly. Yes, it is critical. Access to all material for the whole course ready, assessments, material, readings, recordings 1 week before the unit starts, so they can familiarize with the content, and they have an opportunity to ask questions about where to find the information that they look for. So yes, the courses are updated regularly. But they must be ready well before the unit starts, the full unit, not just the first weeks.
Wonderful, thank you. There's another question in the chat, and I think it's for Belal. Sulamita would like to know, what's the magazine name? What's the name of the magazine?
It doesn't have a name, but it's just from the Architectural Institute of Australia. It comes out monthly.
Okay.
It's a monthly edition. So yeah, that's what it is. I can put a link in the chat. We'll find
All
that.
right, that would be great if you could. And we've got
Yeah.
actually a couple of questions now. I think Kristen, you had your hand up first, and then Henry.
Sorry. Hi, Professor Mancini. It's nice to see you again. I wanted to ask you about the reading list that you mentioned, because we were just, in fact, talking about that today, related to some curriculum revisions we're doing. By reading lists, are you putting together, is this a textbook or is it individual readings that you put together that are, for example, peer-reviewed journal articles
Yes.
and that sort of thing?
Yes, we find that the easy way, or the preferred way, rather than putting together a reader, is actually offer the students a series of readings that, as I said, they can access through the online portal of the library. But this portal actually enables us to add descriptions and comments for each reading. So, for instance, from a particular book, we want the students to read a particular chapter or a particular chapter each week. We can also add more comments to say from this page to this page, this is useful for this subject. So effectively what we do, rather than compiling a reader that would not leave space to the students to expand, because if we compile a reader, what we have to do is to ask the library to scan or extract maybe one chapter or 10% of the book because of the copyrights if we build something that is not the original version. So we found that it's more effective to actually guide the student through the resources, offering them the essential that they need to check every week, but leaving them free also to expand and utilize the more, an extensive portion of that particular resource. We actually do the same with videos while we are transitioning to more crafted and catered videos for students. So I was mentioning the micro lectures. We rely on a number of videos that we have in our collection. Sometimes there are generous, incredible teachers from MIT, from Harvard, who actually share this sort of micro introductory communication.
Oh, I'm afraid we lost him again.
I'm sorry. I realize that I'm dropping all the time. Must be me. But that's what I'm saying. Just to wrap up the answer, we basically guide the students through the access of these resources every time, and we can do that because the library is doing great things for us, buys online collections as a preferred mode of acquisition, but also can scan all the resources that do not exist in digital format, as I said, up to 10%. And in that case, they can put the online version available to students for us upon our request.
Great, thank you very much.
And over to you, Henry.
Thanks, Francesco, for the presentation. I have a question around the university. So I understand that you're offering a fully online architecture program and also an in-person architecture program. Is that correct?
Yes,
So
correct.
when a student registers to the architecture school, can students navigate between the in-person and online and is it kind of an a la carte situation where you can choose some courses to take online and some courses you can take in person? And I think that's the first part of my question. And from a teaching perspective, do the professors, the faculty members also have to balance some courses in person and also offer lectures in online as well? I'm just wondering how that
Great. Yeah.
distribution is done.
Great questions, both. Thanks, Henry. The first question, short answer is yes. It is easier for domestic students who study on campus to switch online. Generally, this is a great opportunity for them to catch up if they fail a unit. And so it's a sort of an online summer school because our 4 study period runs during a semester break entirely. So there is an opportunity. There are some limitations, especially for the international students who study offshore on our campuses, they cannot take more than 25% of the units online, and they need to be approved on a case by case because this might impact the visa requirements. But the principle is that students can actually switch. And in theory, actually, we had in the past, not many, but we had in the past few students who actually started online, and then they decided to complete the course on campus, and they came on campus. Very few in architecture, a few more perhaps in planning, but it is definitely possible because of the course being identical. For what concerns staff, we have established a few years ago, especially after COVID, we realized that for some of us was really the first time teaching online because they had not been involved, because they were early career staff, they had not been involved that much in teaching online through the OUA. Then we had all of a sudden moved to OUA or to the OUA platform in 2020 when COVID hit. So what we did was training everybody to make sure that they could manage the teaching of the architecture program online. And since then, we have established basic rules so that every staff is involved in online teaching. So if you are the coordinator or the program lead of a particular, the course lead of a particular unit, you then take at least one online offering of that unit. So you have an experience through online. And as I said, it's proved to be very effective also for us to reflect on how we deliver our face-to-face course.
Excellent. Thank you. I've got two questions that are in the chat right now, and the first one is from Amedi. Would I like to ask, how does your program conduct exams and assessments? Are they online, in person, or administered at designated testing centers?
Oh, that's a very good question. We actually have all the options. The university is moving away from centrally scheduled exams all across the units. We are much more moving on to a different model of testing competencies. But certainly, online exams and e-tests are still available, and they can be helpful in certain units. So in that regard, we use platforms. I think that the latest that we have adopted is Respondus, which is a lock-in monitor that actually locks you in, and so you can take the e-test from your home, your house, using your computer. But during the test, you do not have access to internet, and you do not have access to any other resource that is not allowed by the tutor through this particular platform, which enables you to still go through the e-test. And then there is also a camera that your camera you need to have a camera active when you take the e-test. So you have an ID recognition, and then the camera actually checks your behavior, that you don't leave the room, you don't come back, this kind of thing. So it is remotely invigilated. Each exam or test is recorded, and then the tutor can actually go back and check if there is any flag that the program actually flagged to us in the recording. If the student left the room or somebody else came in, this is also something that should not happen, for us to check that the student took the exam or the test regularly. But as a pedagogic model, we're moving more and more away from this type of final assessment. We're moving towards short quizzes and learning checks at the end of each module, and this will be progressively implemented in our course in the future, both on campus and online, actually.
Thank you very much.
And then I've got a question from Daryl. And Daryl's question is, in Canada, professional practice is an important part of education. How does your work provide anything on the very different modes of project delivery and how that relates to the role of the architect?
Well, the professional practice units are delivered by professionals with great experience. Our academic cohort is actually composed by pure academics, practitioners who actually dedicate part of their time to the teaching, and academics who are also professionals. So it is pretty much embedded in our DNA. Curtin is quite renowned for being industry connected, in the real sense of the word. Most of our studio briefs or problems that we actually ask the students to deal with are taken from real life, and so students engage with regulations and processes at all times in increasingly in terms of complexity.
Well, that is too bad. Hopefully, Francesco will be back in just a second.
Yes, I am. This has become the trend of the day. I'm so sorry for that. So, as I was saying, the academic cohort is very much embedded in industry. The briefs are designed with industry, and sometimes when we give as a site, for instance, to online students, the site that is next to the neighborhood or part of their council, they are required to go and check with the council what are the regulations, what are the rules, so they get familiar with the process of engaging in some of the activities. I would say that the most difficult part is site visits in terms of construction site visits. They require a level of health and safety to be organized on campus. We cannot just send online students just to go and ask if they are allowed to visit a construction site. We are construction management, which is a program that we run at Curtin in the same school, has been delivering a number of videos of virtual site visits, so you can actually have access to the construction of a house while it's under construction. And we're now developing, as many other programs have done already, the opportunity to use these as a test, quick test of knowledge from the identification of construction elements to particular processes, or even scenario-based questions about contract administration on site. I have to say this requires a lot of preparation from our end, so it's a process that is not progressing as fast as we would like to. But there are ways to utilize virtual reality as a good support for real case scenarios.
Okay, thank you. And I've got two questions from Sulamita. The first one is, could you please comment on the cost of online architecture education in Australia? In general,
Yes.
How do tuition fees for Australian online architecture programs compare with similar programs in Canada? Are they significantly more expensive, particularly for international students? And then the second question is, does Australian online architectural education more broadly have collaboration with universities in New Zealand? Also, does New Zealand currently have a similar model or platform for delivering architecture programs online? So the first one is about fees. So
No, thanks, Douglas. These are fantastic questions, and I have to confess my limited ability to respond on the spot. But probably these are questions for us also to look at more in depth. The first one about fees, I'm not too familiar with the fee structures in Canada. I can definitely say that the fee for an online course is actually Commonwealth supported. Which means that the government actually helps you to pay once you graduate. You start to repay the debt basically at no interest or very minimal interest. But the cost is lower than the on-campus fee for the very simple reason that the students do not have access to the campus structure. So there is a sort of one of the fee components is the fact that you have physical access to the studios, to the learning facilities, to all the services that on campus are available to you in a physical form. And so there is a fee component that goes towards that. That component is not present or is reduced. Library services, they operate differently, and since they depend majorly on the labor and the cost of the facility itself, the management that is impacting on these fees, the fee is lesser than the fee for the on-campus students in Australia. But I can't make comparison with the Canadian system. Perhaps our fees are public, so in considering that the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar are more or less at the same rate of exchange, probably you can make comparison on your own if you are very curious about this. But we will definitely investigate what is our position in terms of fees in this regard in general. Would be an interesting exercise. Sorry, the second question was about the I
New
think the
Zealand.
international students. Oh, New Zealand, yes. Well, we're not across much about the programs in New Zealand. In terms of fees, I suspect that in general, New Zealand is a little bit more expensive because the economy there, it's an island, and in general, the cost of living is a little bit higher than in Australia, but these days really it's floating. There is a difference between East Coast and West Coast in Australia. Coming to international students, as I said before, if you're international students, you must be already in Australia, and then you can study online, but you must be in Australia. And for at that point, you basically can access the course as a domestic student. So you are a permanent resident or you are a working visa that enables you to access the program. International students can who study on campus can access the online unit if they need to, if they want to, and the request is approved under the conditions I mentioned before. And in that case, they have access to the unit at the same cost that other students have to sustain. So in that sense, there is a support there.
Okay, thank you. And I know you have to go at the top of the hour, Francesco.
Yes.
I can just quickly say, and Emma, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but our 3-credit course in our Bachelor of Science of Architecture costs about $800 Canadian. More or less, there's some various things. A lot of our students do qualify for financial aid as well, though. And Emma, am I close on that? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
pretty accurate.
I can confirm that our course is more expensive. So probably a rule of thumb would be around almost $2,000 per unit. The reason for that is that we have a synchronous component, which means that you have a tutor constantly with you on a weekly basis. And so that is increasing the cost. We have some other courses delivered online where the synchronous component is much less. And so that's when the cost becomes more closer to $800-900 per unit. So it's similar to Canada. Yeah.
And if you have time, Kristen has her hand up. So this will be our last question because I know you have to get going. But Kristen, if maybe the last question will go to you. Nope, you're muted.
This is something, again, we've been discussing is, I wondered how you've addressed issues around colonialism and contemporary coloniality in your curriculum.
This is a great question, and I should have mentioned during my presentation. Thank you very much, Kristen, for bringing this up. As you know, in Australia, the accredited course is the master. Now that we have split and embraced the Bologna Agreement model, but the professional competencies have been reviewed in 2021. Making very, very clear our objectives in terms of Aboriginal engagement in respect and what we call design with country on the one hand, or acknowledgement and respect for country when engaging as designers in the built environment. So the competencies now guide us, and through the competencies we have especially appointed because of this we had one more reason to appoint more Aboriginal experts in the field of the built environment that help us in both courses. So they're present both in the online and in the face-to-face course, and they help us to deliver the appropriate competencies that the framework has established. It's a great conversation to have. Unfortunately, I have to leave, but thanks for the question. Yes. We definitely are committed to make sure that whoever engages with an online course or a face-to-face course in Australia in architecture is not only very well aware, but learns ways of working and ways of understanding country, which is a different concept from place, the one that we are used as Western or non-Aboriginal designers, makes a lot of difference. I'm running an urban design studio that is based exactly on this, on the reconciliation of these two approaches as we speak. So absolutely, it is our front of mind. Yes, yes.
And thank you.
I know you have to run, so I want to
talk more about it. Yeah. Thanks so much.
I'd just like to say thank you so much, Francesco, and thank you so much, Belal, for spending time with us this evening or this morning or wherever you are. And I hope that we can continue this conversation.
Anytime.
We'll be announcing the next set of lectures in this series very, very soon, and we hope that everybody will be able to join us again. But thank you so much for this evening, and we'll definitely, there's a whole bunch of things I want to follow up on. So thank you to everybody, and we'll be seeing you all again soon. So take care, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.